So, hi everyone, my name is Nadine Paans, and I'm a PhD student from the VU University Medical Center. I also work as a psychologist. I'm also part of the MooDFOOD project, both as a researcher and as a therapist on the MooDFOOD prevention trial, where Laura talked about before. And today I'm going to present the main results of my article on the influence of a large range of biopsychosocial variables in the relation between depression and weight gain. So, this is my grandmother, Grandma Nell, and my grandmother is always full of advices. And one of the things she repeatedly reminds me of is when I feel low or sad or stressed, I should make sure that I eat enough. And maybe I should even eat a little bit more than I'm used to, because she says then at least there's no place left for negative emotions. And I think in the case of my grandmother, it's very clear how a sad mood or even depression can lead to weight gain and obesity. But in general, there's still a lot of uncertainty about the associations between depression and obesity and weight gain. And that's what I'm trying to clarify a little bit more with this article. So we already know that there are associations between depression and both obesity as well as weight gain. And several studies have tried to investigate why and how depression and obesity and weight gain are related by studying the role of different biopsychosocial variables. And several reviews have tried to summarize those findings. However, these reviews have some limitations because they only include cross-sectional studies, they only look at the incidence of obesity but not at weight gain over time, or they only include a small range of biopsychosocial variables. So there's still a lot of uncertainty left. And that's why in the current paper, I decided to include a broad range of different biopsychosocial variables at the same time. And these variables can be divided into 4 different groups, which I will shortly discuss now. So the first group is the psychological vulnerabilities. We know that people with depressive disorder tend to experience a lot of cognitive reactivity responses. So they respond more with hopelessness, with aggression, with rumination. Depressed people also tend to worry more and tend to experience feelings of limited mastery. And recently, several cross-sectional studies have shown associations between feelings of limited mastery and cognitive reactivity responses and a high BMI. So the psychological vulnerabilities form the first group. Then there are the lifestyle variables. We know that depression is associated with smoking, with alcohol use, with low physical activity. And obviously, those unhealthy lifestyle aspects are also associated with obesity and with gaining weight over time. Then we have the biological variables. Studies show that depression is associated with several biological dysregulations. So, for example, dysregulation of the autonomic nervous system, dysregulation of the HPA axis, high leptin levels, and high inflammation markers. And studies also show that obesity is associated with this biological dysregulation. So, therefore, this is the third group we included. And then finally, there is antidepressant use. So we know that certain studies show that the treatment of depression with antidepressant use can lead to obesity or can lead to weight change. However, there are also some studies who do not find an independent effect of antidepressant use apart from the effect of the depression itself. So therefore, we included antidepressant use as well. So in summary, the aim of the current study is to investigate the role of 21 different biopsychosocial variables on the association between depression and weight gain. So for the current article, we used the Netherlands study of depression and anxiety, NESDA. NESDA is a naturalistic cohort study, and it has assessments at baseline and at 1, 2, 4, 6, and 9-year follow-up. The sample consists of almost 3,000 participants, of which 2/3 are females, and the baseline age range is between 18 and 65 years old. The participants were recruited in the community, in primary care, and in specialized care. And the participants include healthy controls without any lifetime diagnoses, people with depressive disorders, so major depressive disorder or dysthymia, and people with anxiety disorders, so panic disorder, social phobia, and general anxiety disorder. And for the current paper, we used a sample of 60,058 participants who had follow-up data on weight, and we excluded everyone with pure anxiety disorders. So our main predictor variables were both major depressive disorder, as measured with a formal interview, as well as depression severity. And as outcome measure, we used 4-year weight gain versus stable weight. And people were classified as weight gainers when they gained more than 5% of their body weight over 4 years. And this is consistent with earlier research done. And then we include 21 baseline biopsychosocial variables, which I discussed earlier. So just to study the influence of the biopsychosocial variables on the depression weight gain link, we used the Preacher and Hayes mediation model. And this model tests several paths. So this model tests the association between depression and a biopsychosocial variable, so the A path. It tests the association between the biopsychosocial variable and weight gain, the B path. It tests the direct association from depression to weight gain, controlling for the indirect effect, the C path. And then it tests the indirect effect of depression via the biopsychosocial variable on weight gain, the A times B path. And we included all the biopsychosocial variables separately, and all the analyses are controlled for age, gender, years of education, and baseline weight. So let's have a quick look at the baseline characteristics of our sample. You can see that the weight stable group is slightly older as compared to the weight gain group, and there are slightly more males in the weight stable group as well, and they are slightly higher educated. You can also see that the weight stable group has a little less severe depression symptoms as compared to the weight gain group, and there are also a little more healthy controls in the weight stable group as compared to the weight gain group. And then you can see that the BMI of the weight stable group is 25.5, and obviously they don't gain a lot over 4 years. And the BMI of the weight gain group is 24.8, and they gain almost 8 kilos over 4 years. So we first wanted to confirm whether there were actually associations between depression and 4-year weight gain. So we looked both at depression diagnosis as well as depression severity. And if you first look at the first analyses between the depression diagnosis, you can see that the patients with current depressive disorder are more likely to gain weight over time as compared to the healthy controls. But there are no difference between the healthy controls and those with a remitted depressive disorder. So therefore, for the mediation analysis, we only included the healthy controls versus the current depressed patients. And you can also see that there are associations between depression severity and 4-year weight gain. So if we then move on to the mediation analysis, I will present the results for major depressive disorder, but the results for depressive severity are very similar, almost the same. And the results of the mediation analysis showed that only alcohol use was significantly associated with the depression weight gain link. So it showed a negative relation between depression and alcohol use, and also a negative relation between alcohol use and weight gain. So that means that people with a depressive disorder are less likely to drink much alcohol, and those who drink less alcohol are more likely to gain weight. So it's a little bit surprising. You can also see that the direct effect of depression on weight gain controlled for alcohol use is still significant. So that means that there is no full mediation, only partly mediation. And if we look at all the other 20 variables we also included in the model, results show that none of these other variables are significantly associated with depression weight gain association. And our results show that depression was almost all the time significantly associated with the biopsychosocial variable. However, none of these biopsychosocial variables was significantly associated to weight gain over time, and therefore there was no mediation. So, since we did not expect to find these less variables to be associated to weight gain, we decided on performing post-hoc analyses because we thought maybe it's not the baseline characteristics that are of influence, but maybe it's the course of the depression itself over time that is of influence on weight gain, or maybe the course of the antidepressant use over time. So this is what we tested. We did 2 analyses making 2 groups. In the first group, we looked at 4-year depression course, and we made a group with healthy controls. with current patients but without a chronic course, so that means over 4 years, less than 80% of the time depressive symptoms. And we made a group with a chronic depression, so more than 80% of the time depressive symptoms. And for the second analysis, we made a group on antidepressant use over 4 years, which also consists of healthy controls, current patients but who did not use any antidepressants over 4 years, current patients who started using, who stopped using, and who continuously used antidepressants over 4 years. So the results of this post-hoc analysis, if we first look at the first analysis, you can see that both the chronic and the non-chronic depressed patients are more likely to gain weight over 4 years as compared to the healthy controls. And if you look at the second analysis, you can see that both patients who did not use antidepressant over 4 years, as well as the group who started using antidepressant over 4 years, are more likely to gain weight. So unfortunately, these results did not clarify the depression weight gain link much more. So in summary, we found that of the 21 variables included, 20 of them were not significantly associated with depression, with weight gain in depression. So we ask ourselves, so why not, or what can be happening then? It could be that there are other variables involved that we did not measure at the NESDA study. So examples could be some dietary patterns or unhealthy eating patterns, or also psychological eating styles. It could be that these variables are associated to weight gain in depression. Another explanation could be that there is a third underlying variable that both cause depression as well as obesity of weight gain. So for example, several genes can be candidates. There is a large genome-wide study published earlier this year that found genes that were associated with both obesity and depression, so that might be promising. And our results also found no difference between chronic and non-chronic patients, and also no consistent results on antidepressant use were found. So the conclusion and take-home message could be that there is a robust association between depressive disorder and depressive symptoms with 4-year weight gain. However, this association is independent of several psychological, lifestyle, and biological variables. Thank you for your attention.